keep finding new ways to suffer, and people keep making new ways for me to suffer. Welcome back to the Battle of Seelow Heights. And today we have a new start date, which on paper looks easier because it's earlier on in the war. January 12th, 1945, right after Operation Bagration, which completely shattered the German army in the east, but right before the Vistula Oder offensive, which brought the Soviet Red Army to the gates of Berlin. Let us check this out. We will, of course, be playing as the main character of the mod, Germany. Yeah, it doesn't look very great here right now. Let's turn Iron Man mode on with historical focuses, and I mean, I've seen worse.
I can't see what's happening. Are we boned?
Yeah, we're boned.
Check this out. If I can compare it to... I've done April 12th. If I compare this to April 12th, yeah, I've seen worse. Now, this is actually a little more difficult, or rather difficult in different ways. But let's go find out. Prolonging defeat. That's really the point of this mod. Maybe I can still win, so we'll see. So a nice little bit of events here where you wanna, if you want to, you can read up on the historical offensives, counteroffensives, relief attempts, all that. Spoiler alert, Germany loses. I'll just get that out right away. Germany loses. Maybe not today though. So, well, we still have most of Germany, right? In the west, this is right after the Battle for the Bulge, or Operation Wacht am Rhein has failed and stalled and is hopelessly stuck. This looks reasonable enough. I think we can manage that. Then in Italy, if we want to hold Italy, this is all right, I guess. Fortify this mountain range, fortify the center, and just pray to God it holds. If not, we can always fall back to the Alps. And then the east. So Croatia will have to give up. This is not good. Hungary, there are 7 divisions trapped in Budapest. That's not great. Historically, the last remaining German armed strength was wasted trying to bust these divisions out and retaking or relieving the siege of Budapest. We're not gonna do that because I'm not stupid. These men will be sacrificed. And then the north here, we are... Ooh, at least we're on the Vistula River, so maybe we can make that work for us. And then there's East Prussia. We're gonna be giving up East Prussia. Up here, the classic everybody knows and loves about the Courland Pocket. These mad lads held out for a very long time, and they will today. And of course, Norway. First things first, let's go over our logistics. They're bad. Okay, so we are lacking a lot of equipment already. Nothing horrific yet, but I haven't changed my templates yet, so... Air Force. Not a single air wing is at full strength. Fantastic. And Navy. We still have... Yeah, that's not a Navy. Every single good surface vessel has been blown out of the water. We have left Schlesien. She's a pre-dreadnought hull. Nice. 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, bunch of destroyers, and some subs. Jesus Christ. We'll do our best, but it's not going to be the surface fleet that saves us. If anything can save us, it will be the subs. So, army. We have a lot of divisions still. I won't be able to save all of them, but I think I can make them work. Let's check out the template. So this is the Infanterie Division. Yeah, I have to make some changes here. This is... No. Dear God, no. So we've got a mix of different templates. We've got a little bit of armored left. We got a little bit of motorized, mechanized. I'm gonna do the front lines themselves and the actual, you know, management of them off screen. But I do have an idea, and this idea was given to me by somebody on the Seelow Heights Discord of defensive lines. Now, I initially thought, you know, of course, use the river, obviously, and work our way down here and make use of the forts in eastern Slovakia, level 10 forts, that what's not to like, and then peel off towards the Alps with a separate line here in Italy. I've seen someone's very passionate defense of a different line, something like this, where you just completely abandon Slovakia, Tiso can get screwed, and make use of the fortifications here. Level 4 forts, level 7 forts, and then more level 7 forts. Plunge into the area around Vienna, hold Vienna, and from Vienna go south through Graz to make sure you hold the supply hub, and then down through the hills here into Fiume. Now this should be slightly shorter, and a slightly shorter line is denser, more defensible. possible. But we'll have to experience that. In short, we'll make use of terrain and forts where we can. If the line gets breached, I have alternatives. I can still go to the gap hit around Wells and use the impassable terrain of the Alps to shut this whole thing down. It would require me to abandon Italy, but so be it. And for this side of the front, I'll make that a different theater. We're going to be holding anything from The Hague, Arnhem down there. And then we're going to go here. Instead of sitting on the Rhine completely, I am going to make the judgment call of trying to hold on to as much of Germany as we can. Yes, I can fall back to the Rhine if this breaks. That's a secondary fallback. Just sit on the Rhine. But while I'm still on this side, I want to maintain control of the Moselland to get the manpower and the factories out of it, not to mention the resources. And I'll show you that in a minute, the moment the frontline system wants to play nice with me. There are level 5 forts here that I can use. They will at least allow me to buy time. So we'll use the forts here to buy time to fight either a delaying action or to really dig in and hold. So that's the initial plan. We'll pull out of these salients and we'll also pull out of this tile. This is a small slice of the Maginot, and part of me wants to hold on to it so I could then push out from there because the tile next to it doesn't have forts. But again, it makes the front line one tile longer. I have limited troops and I will be fighting for my life here. So I would not be thinking about counterattacking. I wouldn't counterattack through there anyway, maybe unless I want to do a big pincer. Any counterattack will be in the Low Countries or in Wallonie. Then there is Norway. We'll leave the Mountaineers up there with maybe like an extra unit, and then the rest of these units are just going to be defending the ports in Norway. We're just going to defend every port in Norway with at least one division. So we'll request Norwegian troops as well to bolster the defenses, and we will hold on to Norway for as long as we can. Once we get overrun with naval invasions, which does tend to happen eventually, we are going to abandon it, either funneling the troops south into Oslo and then across into Denmark, or just deleting the troops so we can get the equipment. Then Courland, we are going to hold on to it. Usually the AI doesn't really care all that much about closing the pocket, also because there are level 10 forts everywhere here. This is very well defended. It is the last holdout of Reichskommissariat Ostland, and weirdly enough, that means these troops have some supply, and I could even delete the divisions to recover the equipment if I so chose, because their capital's right here, and it counts as being connected to my capital, I guess? I don't know, but they have no port, which is the first thing I'm going to change. I am going to build one naval base up there, either to get these men out, or, that's a big maybe, to get some sort of shock forces in there to try and backdoor the Soviets if an opportunity arises. Because I've seen in a couple of my test games that this gets really thin. Like, there are 13 divisions, 5 on the line now, but as the game progresses and the Soviets really start driving into your main line, this gets a little thin sometimes, and it offers opportunities for big encirclements if you play your cards right. Italy is fairly straightforward. Yeah, just hold that. Hold the Alps here now. I could hold Nice, or I could just pull back to Piemonte. Yeah, I usually just hold this. I give Nice and the other tile in Savoie back. Don't care about it all that much. Just make sure that we can hold this mountain line for a little bit. The enemy tends to be somewhat overstretched in the north. We'll see what we can do, if we can hold it at all. I think we can. This is not the focus tree we all know and love. This is very new and just part of the mod. I think it needs a little bit of localization because the Battle for Remagen, I have no idea what it does other than unlock the decision. Battle for Remagen. The mod maker, however, has told me these are decisions that will allow you to perform better on the defensive in the historical region. So Battle for Remagen is going to give you defensive buffs for the Western Front, certain provinces. And then we have Unternehmen Frühlingserwachen. That is an offensive bonus against the Soviet Union. All of these are timed. Fighting retreat, defensive bonus against the Soviet Union. Battle of Vienna, stemming the tide. This gives you bonuses to basically hold out a little longer. I'll go with Battle of Remagen first. And then the meat and potatoes here. That is now the reason why this is all going to be rather difficult. National spirits. We have mass disloyalty. Not great. Allied bombing raids. Not great. And this one won't go away until we control Berlin, Paris, and Warsaw. Now, I hold Warsaw for now. I hold Berlin. hopefully for the rest of the game. But Paris, we are nowhere near taking that, and it's gonna be a while until we get rid of the Allied bombing raids. Volkssturm looks nice, but Totalen Krieg, that also looks very nice. This has actually been pretty useful. Endsieg, yeah, fine, useful. And then a shattered Wehrmacht. Reduced org, more attrition, less organization regain, a less reinforcement rate. We are broken. Our army is on its knees. And then the usual general staff and bitter loser. Yeah, we're not gonna lose. Anyway, we can fix the debuffs though. So Allied bombing raids we can fix by controlling Berlin, Paris, and Warsaw. Mass disloyalty and the shattered Wehrmacht we have more direct means of fixing. Welcome to the Oberkommando des Heeres and her missions. These are timed mission events, giving us a certain window of opportunity to complete tasks like Operation Nordwind. If we control Strasbourg, we get base stability, base war support, and a ton of command power, but we only have 12 days to do it. I'm gonna go and be honest here, we're not gonna do this one. This one wants us to control Alsace-Lorraine, the Maginot. I am not going to be able to push 5 heavy tank divisions off a level 10 fort with my army in the shape that it is today. So we'll just put that one out of our mind. Wacht am Rhein, control Vlaanderen. That one we can do. Now you might be thinking, but there's a massive front line there. They got a river, they got a lot of troops. Maybe, you know, they got some supply issues, so maybe you could push. No. Look closer. There you go. Are you seeing it? Fallschirmjägerdivision. We're gonna paradrop Antwerp, Brussels, Ghent, and maybe Leuven or Kortrijk. It's far enough from the front that it should not be occupied, and it's close enough to the front that the AI should not be prioritizing garrison forces there. Like, they will put garrisons around Paris, around these ports, because they don't want to get naval invaded, and because they correctly assume that if a breakthrough happens, these are vital to supply. But if it's closer to the front, the AI decides I have enough troops nearby to redeploy, I don't need to keep a garrison on there right away. So these tend to be open. Then we have hold Warsaw for 39 days. Now this one is a little easier. Terrain is good. There are no forts, but you have a lot of divisions in the area, and you should be able to hold this with some micromanagement, but I can ping pong my last stands for days here. I should be fine holding that. There will be additional missions as you get closer to the historical dates of certain operations, like Grape Shot, the Allied assault on what remains of Italy, giving us more opportunities to fix more and more and more of these debuffs. We just have to hold. And for every one of those missions we complete, it gets easier. However, every one of those missions we fail is going to chip away at our war support. Win some, lose some, I guess. Then for construction, it's very easy. I'm going to build that one single naval base, and then I'm going to build a ton, I do mean a ton, of synthetic refineries, followed up with just a bunch of military factories. Also going to look around a bit, see if you want to build some infrastructure, get some steel out of the Moselland, get additional aluminum out of Oberbayern, that kind of stuff, just to get our own resources rolling. But no matter what we do, it's going to be a tough one. Research, we have our slots, and the initial research is simply going to focus on doing things that will keep us alive for a little bit longer. Improve the artillery, improve the infantry equipment. I'm also going to go over here and get advanced oil processing, get more fuel out of our refineries. I want armored trains. You'd think that by 1945 Germany knew how to build armored trains. Apparently not, but we're going to work on that because we are going to get bombed to hell and back again. And then for the final slot, could go for modern tanks, but realistically the economy can't support it. A lot of stuff that I would like but can't really get. Night vision, extra land attack 50% of the time is good. Support companies, I think I want the industry stuff first, so let's grab dispersed industry 5. Political power. We are on scraping the barrel. I would like to not be on scraping the barrel. We have 2.5 million men in reserve. I would like to go down to all adult serve, but I don't have the war support for it, which is a little annoying. Not much I can do about that right now. What I can do, however, is replace Albert Speer. I'm not going to be using him, and get Bormann first. Funk is not going to come into his own until we've built T-Synthetics. IG Farben is fine. Guderian, yeah, you can stick around, I guess. You're the best I have. Keitel can't replace you. Would love to, but can't. But I have ideas. Dönitz can stick around. Göring, I wish I could shoot you, but alas. Then we have Student, air assault expert. Useful for our trick in Flanders, I suppose. We've got Schorner, infantry expert. Wonderful. And then for the third slot, we'll get Gert von Rundstedt, army regrouping expert, more division recovery rates. This is all right. It's by no means great, but it's all right. We are also going to be clicking a few buttons here. Radio propaganda and utilize domestic film industry. 1, 2. It's a lot of political power, but it gets our war support up. That affects our stability. Speaking of stability, officer corps, spirit of the academy, political loyalty, more stability, and we're over 50% now. No more strikes on the horizon. Our doctrine, we are mobile warfare. Good. They've gone blitzkrieg, which is, it's alright, but I would have preferred mobile infantry, but it is what it is. I'm not going to turn back now because this gives us a very valuable 5%. 5% recruitable pop. Oh god, we are on the wheelchair now. I'm going to not get professional officer corps, mostly because we have all the doctrine we want, and later on I'll have plenty of army experience to change out if I so choose. No. I'm going to go with either Elevated Engineering Corps, Faster Entrenchment. Entrenchment is GOAT, or Quick Improvisation. This gives me more daily command power and makes my commander abilities cheaper, meaning more last stand beams and a little bit more flexibility in how and when I use them. And I do think I will be using them a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be changing my my tank template a lot, so I might just grab motorization drive and then switch out to quick. Yeah, let's do that. I have templates to change. Now, I'm going to go with a flexible organization, and if that turns out to be a problem, I'll switch it out later. Though, realistically, I don't know if I'll have much opportunity. We'll see just how dumb this is. Navy, convoy warfare, submarine primacy, and night fighting, and then just finish out the doctrine here. It's not rocket surgery. We're just gonna get subs. Air Force, I'm grabbing aircrew surveys for cheaper doctrines, less accidents, and centralized control for better missions. We'll work our way down the focus tree to the last one here. Interception detection and ground support. Hooray! That's pretty much it. Templates are not great. So this is the standard infantry division. It's too big and too weirdly equipped. I'm going to turn this into a regular org wall. I'm going to remove everything but 9 infantry battalions. They're down to 18 combat width, but they're a lot cheaper and have a lot more organization. I'm going to remove cavalry recon. They're just not that valuable if you don't have line artillery. I'm going to remove signal companies. While the extra initiative is nice, it's just not something we need on the defensive. It's something we would like to have, but we can't afford, I should say. And then field hospitals. I would love to keep the field hospitals. Absolutely. Free manpower. So much manpower we could just recover through this, but I don't think I can afford to keep them. I'll see what I can get. I need support artillery to get a little bit of a bite in there, and I'm tempted to grab maintenance companies because our economy is going to get bombed to hell and back again. It's going to be very difficult to produce enough equipment. This might allow us to borrow some allied equipment. This looks cheapish on the whole, but I'm not sure it's actually going to end up being cheaper. No anti-tank, less artillery, fewer trucks, fewer of everything, and still a nice amount of organization. I'll leave the field hospitals in for now. I can always delete them later, and then once we get enough of it, I'm going to start introducing anti-air. Anti-air is going to be critical. Anyway, this will be the main infantry unit, and I'll convert all infantry to this Infanterie Division. Volksgrenadiers, we're gonna get rid of. Gebirgsdivision, these are our mountaineers. I'll have to bring them up to 25 width to make them even slightly optimal for mountains. They should do. Might keep the cavalry recon there because they do have quite a few like this is actually impactful enough to be almost 10%. It's good enough, and we'll add some support anti-air. These will be more elite units. 25 width, nice amount of soft attack. Again, support anti-air, some field hospitals. Then we have Panzer Grenadier Division. This is big, slightly too big. No medium tanks for these. Remove that. Let's remove this mechanized infantry. We'll remove the anti-air as well as the anti-tank. 21 combat width is all right. It's not perfect, but it's all right. The anti-tank, replace that with some support AA. Motorized is recon. Do I want that? No, it's not impactful enough. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Signal companies. The initiative is nice, but I don't think I need it, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Makes these a little more durable. I'll add some support artillery. Maybe maintenance companies. It does lower our organization a bit, but the equipment capturing is nice. We'll add maintenance to these. So not the best, but it will do. And then finally, the Panzerdivision. So we have Panzerdivision, Schwere Panzerabteilung, Stubbrigade. Yeah. No. And SS Panzerdivision. We are rolling with the Panzerdivision, the usual panzers. Now, I do want to name these guys after channel members. I will have to do that manually because the mod, alas, just doesn't seem to work anymore. I'll need to look into that. But I'll name these divisions manually. All my elite units will be named after channel members to thank you for your support in the channel. It is thanks to people like you that I can do this full time. Now, add medium tanks, more medium tanks. No, not medium tank destroyers. Medium tanks up to 30 with 35 organization. For a tank, that's fine. It does require a lot of medium tanks. Bit expensive. We don't need field hospitals. We don't take that many casualties with armor. Signal companies I might leave in. Recon, don't need that in the tanks either. Gonna add logistics because obviously I'm gonna add logistics. I think that's it. So every unit in the field is going to be converted into those standard templates. Infantry becomes Infanteriedivision. I keep my mountaineers. Volksgrenadiers, I'm not even going to bother. Panzergrenadiers, Panzerdivision. So all panzers will be Panzerdivision. All grenadiers will be Panzergrenadiers. And I'll start consolidating units to get full strength units. And if you're wondering what that means, consolidating units, like take these 3 Panzerdivisions. All of them are not at 100% strength. So let's take 2 of these. They're both at 59% strength. If I click this button consolidate, I get 1 unit with actually a lot more strength. It's now got all of its manpower, half of its tanks, all of its mech, infantry, all of its other equipment is just lacking half of its tanks. Consolidate those, and that's a lot more combat effective of a unit. And that's what I'm going to do to all the armor divisions until we have a handful of them left, but at full strength. In the east, I'm pulling all the mechanized to the line between Warsaw and Radom to blunt the Red Army offensive as much as I can for as long as I can, probably until the fuel runs out. The eastern tanks, I'm currently pulling back towards Prague for rearming, reorganization, and then I need to look at where I need them as a fire brigade to plug holes. And the rest of the infantry is all converted to the new template, well, everyone that I could except for the mountaineers, and we're pulling them all back to this new defensive line. Hopefully they can make it. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Why aren't you subscribed? Go ahead, click that button. Click it. Good. Now click the like button. Alright, now we have an understanding. Don't let me catch you not liking and subscribing ever again. Are we clear? Alright. Enjoy the rest of the video. In Italy, everybody is deployed. I took the tank and the mechanized we had here, turned them all into infantry. We're just going to try and hold as long as we can. Just delay, delay, delay. As for the west, again, I'm getting the armor and mechanized organized around Frankfurt to see where I need them so I can rearm, reorganize. And all of the paratroopers are going to the Amsterdam airport, and we're going to try and paradrop these victory points. Now, the early days, the AI will not have an air force up, but just to be sure, I'm redirecting all of my fighters to the Benelux region to either seize control of the air, if the AI deploys fighters but not too many, or to put all my fighters up over the English Channel to bait the enemy into putting their fighters up there to, fight me. I am deploying a couple of these Luftwaffe Felddivision. I've added some engineers to them. 12 with bodies for the front. No, not for the front, for the ports, because we might get naval invaded. Now, to get the armies where I need them, we are going to be redeploying them. Everyone here has to leave, and the easiest way to do that is just make sure they're no longer making contact with the Soviets or just the main front, and have them walking back as far as we can, and then just turning them all to strategic redeployment. They all have to strategically redeploy, get away from the front so that they can then run. If they walk away from the front, the Soviets are going to catch them and they'll never be able to get sufficient supply. It's just constantly going to be ping pong along the front. I need to manually withdraw them from the front like this so they can get to where they're going. All that's left now now is to hit unpause and watch my world come crumbling down, I guess. One more thing, I'll design a cavalry division that has nothing in it but a single horse unit, just to put them as our garrison unit, because otherwise we'll be wasting far too much of our equipment. Still have army experience, so we'll switch motorization drive back to quick improv. I wonder how the paratroopers will do, because I am very much dependent on what the AI does to see whether or not this actually works. Well, they've walked into Ghent. I'll see if I can get them to walk into Brussels, and I'll keep the order running. We do have some version of air superiority. If they drop another paratrooper, all the better. They've walked into Antwerp as well. I control Vlaanderen, so technically Operation Wacht am Rhein is a success. Even though we're not ever going to hold the territory, this is a success. That means I'm going to halt the remaining 2 paratroopers and write these 2 that just dropped off as lost. And I completed the mission Wacht am Rhein. It is done. I got my benefit. This, however, is a problem. I am going to need to micromanage this. So I will be using last stands a lot. I'll be trying to hold these positions as best I can because I cannot afford to lose this. So Radom is very much at risk of losing. I am getting more mechanized divisions in there to assist. Warsaw should be fine for the time being. Keep extracting, keep getting out of combat, and then redeploying to places where they can serve their purpose. So down here, I'm just going to funnel fresh troops in. I'm going to take, let's see, they're all in combat. I'll take the division that actually has some strength to it, split it off to a different general. I'll take one from this army as well as one from this tile. Gives me 4 units. I'll assign Venk, somebody with a good defensive stat. Not that it matters too much. There we go. And we'll hit last stand on a relatively low budget. They're going to take a lot of strength damage, but they'll take less org damage, meaning they cannot retreat. They can hold that line until reinforcements arrive. And if these units survive those 7 days, I'll do it again. More and more mechanized units are arriving in the area. They should be able to relieve the worst of the pressure. Fortunately, I still have a little bit of fuel to make the defensive effort work there. Shockingly, the French have left. I don't know why the AI does this, but if they're going to let me take Annecy, I'm going to take it. My first offensive of the campaign. I will attack this tile and take it. Yeah, I'm going to try to throw up what fighters I have left on interception because I'm taking massive amounts of cast damage from the Soviet Union. Holy crap, that is a lot of cast they're throwing up there. I'm going to use what little political power I have left right now to go full scorched earth on the territory. My units are out. I don't care about the other units in the vicinity. We are blowing everything up that we can. I need to slow down the enemy as much as humanly possible just so we can get out. Same here, Luxembourg. I'm gonna blow that place right up, slow them down, buy time. You extract and evacuate. And these are finally being reinforced with some proper mechanized units. They've even stopped attacking in some places after the initial push. I think they're more interested in now taking this undefended territory with their blown up railroads. They're welcome to it. They can have it. I just need to organize here, set up my defense, and outlast the mission. Hold Warsaw. 1 month, a little more than a month, and then we're very likely to pull back to the Stettin line. So this is the Order defensive line, just to, again, shorten my lines even more. What does surprise me is that they haven't made a single attempt to take Buda or Pest. As long as that lasts, I can get all of the oil possible out of Hungary. Am I stupid or blind or something? Because the way this looks is I can drive my mech and my tanks right out of here. It looks... No. They just opened the attack. All right, after consolidating my armor in the east, that brings me down to 4 combat effective tank divisions. I'm gonna move them over to the Warsaw area to do that reinforcement from the rear. As for the west, we have 2, 3. That's it. 3 combat effective tanks in the west. Jesus, where the... Oh, Germany has no more armor. Funnily enough, I'm still getting Hungarian oil. I don't have a border with Hungary, but because I guess... I don't know. Seeing as there's nothing really going on in the west, I'm going to retask all of the armor to the eastern front. There we go. This shall turn the tide, sure. Our offensives aimed at retaking the Hungarian oil fields. No, this is not happening, but, good try. We'll make it a fighting retreat. Our offensive in Hungary has failed. That was quick. Then battle for Vienna to secure those positions. They're not attacking Pest. One more week and I can actually do... I had written this off entirely. One more week and I can do this. Even if they start attacking again, I can cycle those units for days. Oh, cycle. Use last stand for days there. One more week for Vienna as well. It is holding. Barely, but it is holding. We are going to do it just as our line in the east is looking like collapsing. 2 more days for the siege of Budapest. Just Buda, I guess. 7 more days to hold Warsaw. I don't need to hold out for much longer. 4 more days and I can surrender Warsaw. We have finished the siege of Budapest and the Vienna offensive. I'm going to get these tanks out. I'm simply going to... I'm simply going to delete them. It will recover almost 1,000 tanks for the stockpile. I am sorry, Gigasus and Mate 115. You are making a glorious sacrifice for the greater good. I need that equipment. Same goes for these 2 infantry units. All of that equipment goes back, as well as the 3 mechanized divisions there. All of that equipment is recovered. Now there's just some Hungarians in Buda. Yeah, it's all crumbling now. That's okay. That is more or less by design. I'm gonna pull the mechanized units out, and we're gonna start up our fresh defensive lines there. We're gonna pull the armored units out as well. Oh my god, they're taking horrific casualties. I got 7 tanks left and they're all beat up. All right. It's fine. Let's go back to Prague and just rearm in Prague, figure out what we do from there. And then we're gonna redraw the infantry line. Just need Warsaw to hold for 3 more days. Oh dear god, true lightning striker. I've destroyed your unit. I have last stand up. It's fine. That unit can hold. I'm gonna start the withdrawal now. Hopefully we can get there in good order. Getting all these units out is the main event. How long? It's done. So I'm just gonna queue up like 1 billion divisions to get manpower in my recruitment queue. I'm never gonna deploy these units. I'm just doing that to suck up like 2 million manpower from here. And then once we've lost the territories, I'll stop the recruitment and hopefully the manpower goes back to my stockpile. I think all in all, I got away there relatively all right. So Meg was able to retake this tile of Zaolzi. The armor was able to retake, I don't know which tile it was. The line is once again continuous, and I've dispersed my armor and mechanized along the front. 2 down south, 2 up north, and 3 in the center to act as fire brigades. The western front is just nothing happening there, so I'm not deploying any units on that front. We'll have to see how things go here. I just noticed why I think I'm holding. It says Soviet preparing offensive, minus 75% division speed, and attack bonus minus 95% against Germany. I think I'm about to get pummeled once those preparations finish. I'm scared. I am legitimately scared. Oh, I also finished Operation Hannibal and Festung Holland. How is my Wehrmacht looking? We are looking tight. So the negative modifier has transformed into something glorious. We still have a little bit of mass disloyalty though. That is not great. And weekly war support going down is not great either. I'm also going to start rolling out new templates. So I'm going to take the Infanterie Division. I'm going to make a flak variant. Simply introduce support anti-air to it. I'm going to start introducing that, I guess. Probably to the units centralized around this area. Oh god, this is it. I think this is where the Soviet debuff runs out. They're gonna assault the Oder-Neisse River. Their final push. Not so final if I have my say, but they now have the Berlin Strategic Offensive Operation until May 2nd. I need to last for 2 weeks through this horror. Fortunately, I do have Führer Directive 74. And I'm gonna get the Endsieg begins. Oh, that just bypassed. So with the extra anti-air in the region, I am definitely much better off than I was before. Still have some forts, but the Air Force is all but gone. There's very little point of putting it up right now. Might be tempted to just throw a few fighters over Czechoslovakia, do some interception there. Not really sure what else to do. Don't really see any major gaps here either. I've organized my armor to try a push, but honestly, they're keeping a lot of units ready. And I'm gonna pop this now. Operation Solstice to give me this defensive modifier. I should not have done that. It's an offensive modifier. Why? Why not tell me this? I'm going to retask half of these mechanized units to these 2 tiles. They seem to be the hardest. They always are when you're trying to hold this line because they are plains and they can be attacked from multiple sides. Even with the river, it is difficult to hold them. There are no forts. There is nothing to really stem the tide. Even though like there is mud and a storm, it should be difficult for the AI to really force a breach, but you know, the AI doesn't care about rules. Let's get all of our air deployed over Berlin. We're gonna throw everything we have at them. I beg to differ because I'm still holding the front. They're nowhere near the Swiss border. You stupid bastard. I don't regret losing you, but you're not supposed to be dead. I'm holding the line on your behalf. Soviets are going for it. Jesus Christ. The Allies are doing nothing except maybe a little bit in Italy, but the Soviets are absolutely going for it. And I can drop down to all adult serfs, so I'll give up 5% recruitable population, which is fine. I have 3 million in reserve, and we get 10% more output, 20% more training time. Well, less training time. That's a no-brainer. That's absolutely something I want. I need guns. I have sufficient men. Need guns. And I can also offset this loss in manpower by hopefully eventually getting enough to grab women in the workforce. Yes, that will give me a little bit of extra recruitable pop. As much as I hate to admit it, I think we're nearing collapse in Italy. Sudden massed allied assault there. They managed to take a tile that extends the front by 1, 2, 3 extra tiles. I don't really have the strength to keep this up. I don't like it, but I'm gonna have to yield ground here. Fall back to this position. Just pull out. We're leaving. My equipment deficit just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. I'm not making enough of anything. We're breaking through down here. Looks to be going well. We'll get a small encirclement on Palanga. Maybe we can get 6 divisions encircled there, steal their equipment, take the port, and then set up new defensive positions. We'll do our best. This may end up being a horrific mistake. If it does, so be it. If it comes to it, I can always get rid of these units. There, what's this? Are you shitting me? I'm not withdrawing from the core pocket. I am attacking. I am taking the fight to the enemy. I am relieving the main front. Karl Hilpert is getting fired. Who is Karl Hilpert? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be anyone relevant. One more day and we finish Grape Shot. I may actually have to fully collapse the front here. Go from Graz and Klagenfurt to the mountain tile, and then set up in the mountain pass up there. Just completely give up Italy if the allied pressure stays this high. It's not dramatic. Italy's not that useful of an ally anyway. It's a sign of the times. Get 6 mountaineers up there, and then all of the other units can go sit on. Just run. Soviets have taken notice of the Courland pocket. Now they're constantly attacking it, which I suppose is all right. At least it means I can hurt them some more there. Gotta be honest, at this point, it feels a little unfair that all of your adversaries get their original focus trees with all the overpowered late game stuff in it that they can still do, and I'm stuck with this. What am I supposed to do with this when it runs out? Then what? Cool, I'll build another land fort. That's it? Like, what am I supposed to do? Give me focuses I can do if I manage successful defenses of critical areas. Give me bonuses from the focus tree, production, anything but this vagueness. I like that they're all short because they have to be to respond to the disasters that are unfolding. But 1, explain what the events from this do, and 2, give me options to do other things, because I feel very constrained right now and it's just not that enjoyable. Well, Japan, yeah, enjoy that. Hopefully that draws some Soviet attention away. I don't know how many units they already have there, but Japan is about to get spanked hard, I guess. Oh well. So we're 6 months in and everyone on the Eastern Front has anti-air. It is making a significant difference though. That's like definitely cutting short the enemy bombing power. Like they rule the skies. I can't do anything more than just annoy them every now and then, like I'm doing here in the Low Countries. I don't see too many fighters. I see many bombers, so I'm trying to intercept there and do what damage I can. I lost 70. Yeah, like I'm trading well here, but if I were to go to Berlin to try and stave off the end here, that would not work. There's too many enemy fighters and my majority of my fighters are just not good. And now I've started one of my own favorite parts of all these Endsieg campaigns, unrestricted submarine warfare. Usually when I get a nice grouping of good submarines, I head for the North Atlantic Ridge and the Iberian coast, the Mid-Atlantic Gap, like this general area, and I start sinking everything I can lay my hands on. So submarines on aggressive to engage in high risk. Later on, when they're all excellent subs, I just put them on always engage, and they will start not just sinking enemy convoys, but also enemy destroyers. And once enough destroyers have been sunk at the relatively low cost of 1 or 2 submarines every time, they'll start losing actual capital ships, and that's when their navies start to crumble. I will bleed them as much as I can because they are doing the same to me. I'm going to need to shore up my defense in the west, so I'm going to deploy a few units to assist with that. About 15 should do. That brings this up to 3 full armies. The Soviets are tired. Maybe tired enough for me to make a move. I'm going to concentrate my armor, what remains of it anyway, in this area near Poznan. I'm going to try and break out across the river here because I can attack this province from 3 sides instead of trying to hop across one of the other positions. At the same time, I've organized the remaining armor and mechanized in the Courland pocket for a naval invasion around Gdynia. I'm launching pinning attacks on the flanks so I don't immediately get stopped in my tracks. Yellow air for now. This is literally me throwing the last of the Luftwaffe at the enemy. This is the one last stab. From hell's heart I stab at thee, Stalin. Damn it, he's intercepted. We've made it across. Now we keep driving. Good. Drive the dagger deep now. Breakthrough is happening though. It's done. All right, 7 armored divisions. Concentrate here. Sweep in on that pocket. It is closing very quickly. How many divisions is that? Like 50? 13. Yeah, more than 50. And they're gone. So that was the destruction of 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. 348,000 units lost, with probably like the other 10,000 here also being counted in. God, yes, that was good. That was good. And we captured a good amount of equipment there as well. These mechanized units, congratulations, you made the landing. I'm gonna integrate you elsewhere though. Well, there goes the main distraction. Japan's gone. Time to make my new favorite submarine. We'll just take a submarine hull level 3 and put the new level 4 modules in it. That way they still only cost steel to produce. I don't have to resort to using chromium, which I hate using. That's very expensive. And it will have stats that are almost as good. How are my stockpiles holding up? So everything more or less getting better as we go. Just support equipment's terrible. Tanks also not great. Fighters, I will just not mention fighters. Good news, bad news. Pinning attacks are more successful than the actual armored thrust. Mostly because it's trying to push through really shit terrain and it's got a lot of units stacked on that one tile. Either way though, the advance continues. I will at least get to the Vistula no matter what. I also think I'm slowly starting to win the air war, at least in the west. I do have less fighters than the Allies overall, and I'm not fighting them where they have their air force concentrated, but when numbers are mostly more or less equal, I have the advantage because I'm putting out very high quality fighters right now. They are just completely shredding what they have. Just look at this and tell me these are not absurd numbers. Once you start wearing down the enemy's escorts, like I've sunk quite a few destroyers already, you can then start absolutely pounding their heavy ships. So I just sank a heavy cruiser, a light cruiser, and 6 convoys at the cost of 1 submarine. A cheap-ass submarine. This is going to turn the war for us because this means American forces and Canadian forces, pretty much anyone who is not UK or France and has troops in Europe, they're going to have supply issues. Their navies are going to get whittled down, and eventually I'm going to be able to hit the United Kingdom with a naval invasion, provided of course I can take out the Soviets. Speaking of, I've begun a collaboration government, at least one, because I do not want to drive my tanks all the way to Sverdlovsk and Chelyabinsk and probably even Tyumen just to capitulate them. Tanks once again have fuel and can actually move again. All right, let's keep pushing to the Vistula. That's a good river to sit on. Makes the line a little thinner, but at this point, the Soviets have expended themselves to the point that I really don't have to worry all that much. Oh, they got penal battalions out here. Well, it's not a glorious encirclement, but we are right outside Warsaw. Make a drive on that city. Rokossovsky can't stop me now. Yeah, all right, retaking Warsaw. I'm just gonna clean up and get the full Vistula front, so I'll get the full benefit of the border there, and then I might shift my focus to try and get Paris. That way, at least the Allied bombing rates will go away, and I'll be able to make more of everything. I know where the Soviet Union's men went. They just went to war with China. Communist China went to war with the Republic of China, and Communist China is in the Comintern, so the Soviet Union's gonna be real busy fighting China. I can't believe this. They want to join my faction. China wants to join the Axis. You will serve as a great distraction, Chiang Kai-shek. I'm not sure why you're not joining the Allies, but I'll take a friend. It looks like we might be able to get a funny little encirclement in here around Katowice if the armor and the mechanized can meet in the middle. Nice little pocket. And it looks like they broke. Yes. Well, now to just issue a cleanup here. I'm trying to limit my offensives to just anything with armor to minimize casualties. I'm also going to have to minimize my tank losses because this whole cleanup operation has put a dent in my armor stockpile. So I'm down 900 tanks. Big oof. Behold, the mighty submarine and what it can do to an enemy navy. Yes, I've lost 7. No, 8 submarines in this engagement. That's fine, because the enemy's already lost a battleship, 2 heavy cruisers, 14 destroyers, and 2 light cruisers. I'd say we're gonna come out ahead on this one, no matter how much better or worse this battle turns. God, I'm trading so favorably in the air now. I think if I check my Air Force, every one of the old, every one of the old BF-109s and the Focke-Wulf 190s has been, let's say, spent. And the only thing in the Air Force is the ME 262 Schwalbe B. So the really good airplane. That's all I have left. And now we're trading. This is where quality over quantity really comes in. I'll organize my armored up here with the goal of pushing to there towards Suwalki. We'll rush the Suwalki Gap like the Soviets in the 80s. I do hope nothing gets intercepted, but I should have total domination of the Baltic Sea now. Drive them forward. You move there, and now we press up from here. Come on. Drive into the tile. No! Yes! Okay. I need to redraw the front. I need to redraw the entire front. Oh my god. 1,700 tanks short. That was the dumbest thing I've done in a while, but it did get us this breakthrough. Yeah, and the Allies got that breakthrough. Why? Soviets are pressing in, but I think I've got a good number of their divisions. Not as many as I'd like, but enough to matter. That pocket's been cleaned up. Let's see what that says. 245,000 men. Could be better, could be worse. So, new plan. As I was probing around here with the Mountaineers, I realized and noticed very quickly, I can break through here. Now, if I can make this trip south, I would separate the fronts again. I would have one massive eastern front. Yes, I can still get more men to that front, but it also opens up the opportunity to strike at Italy, possibly sweeping in and clearing it out. I'm gonna deploy additional units. 1, 2, 3. It's not ideal, but I'm gonna take these Mountaineers away, add them to that push, and then these fresh infantry units can go there. Okay, gotta force that breach. Gotta make sure that the motorized and mechanized and tanks push south, and I want the Mountaineers fighting in the mountains. That way I can play to their strength. This is a great success. The eastern front is still holding. The west is probably gonna get relieved. I'm guessing these guys are gonna start getting pulled away. I'm driving hard into Italy. Couple more tiles, and then we'll have them bisect Unrestricted. That is Italy cut in half. So, all of the armor and mechanized, you push along the boot. And all of the mountaineers, you push to the French Alps. And I'm doing this without air support because by golly, I can't stand up to 300 fighters. Glad that we finally managed to make an actual meaningful breakthrough somewhere. Yeah, we're getting factories now because Italy is getting its factories back. That means they're getting handed out to us. I can put them to good use, replenishing my massive losses. My very battered and very bruised armor is making very good gains here. It's performing above expectations. Mountaineers have done excellent work as well. Reinforce meme them. Meme them. They have been memed. Good. Park a tank or two there so they won't get back. Oh no! I'll leave 2 units behind to man the river crossing or the strait crossing. The rest of the mechanized I'm also committing. This is going to be very expensive. We've punched a nice hole through the lines of the enemy. Mountaineers can maintain a front line as best they can. Armor and mechanized is going to push north as aggressively as possible before anyone can consolidate the line there. So help me God, this better work. Once the attacks stop on my front line, there we go, fall of Paris. Did that remove Allied bombing? No. Mass infantry assault now, and would try to condense and to consolidate. Get this pocket closed. Well, pocket, it's like half of France. This is the majority, I think, of the Allied armies in Europe we now have trapped. Triumphant. Do I establish Vichy France? It seems like the sensible thing to do. It gives me a friend. Allied bombing, has it been removed? Allied bombing has been removed, so I'm going to establish Vichy France. That is the north cleaned up, and then, well, this is the Maginot. It's gonna be awful. Not much I can do about that. I think they just nuked Prague. Yeah, that's not good for war support. There's also not anything I can do about that other than achieve air superiority, which I'm definitely trying. How's this? We're almost in Belgrade. That should be the end of Yugoslavia. Yes, great, fantastic. And I can shove the mechanized into Bulgaria, who have betrayed me. One by one, the dominoes fall. The traitors will get their due. There goes Bulgaria. But yeah, we pretty much secured... there goes Greece. Most of the Balkans. I'm gonna try something new and... tried and tested, I should say, soon. We're gonna try for a push from Radom south towards Mykolaiv or Odessa. And then a push in the south, heading north again to Odessa or maybe towards Stanislavov to just cut off this entire part of the front. With a little luck, we can still get some damage in. At least this absurd maneuver is working out. So we keep driving here towards Vinnytsia, and then we go from here to Vinnytsia as well along a broad front. All right, we should be able to meet. We're going to touch tips, and all of that here is going to be encircled. Pocket established. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The opposite of beautiful is over here, so I'm just gonna ignore China. And seeing as this front is wide open now, start pushing. Well, this is honestly all but over. I've taken 3.3 million casualties, so I've pretty much burned through what reserves I had in a massive infantry offensive. Yeah, you can see just how far we've pushed. There's still some Soviet strength, so I'm not gonna waste the men I have left. What I'm going to do is allow my mechanized and my armor to rearm, because I have a pretty sizable equipment deficit still. When that's done, we're gonna make a few large pincers towards Moscow, maybe Stalingrad and Leningrad, and they should fall, because I have like 3 collaboration governments, and they will capitulate when they have 50% or less of their victory points. Link up, you bastards! Ah, that actually is a couple of pockets. Small one here. We'll close that decisively. And then a bigger one in the center. Oh god, this is a disgusting front line. Also, Reichskommissariat Ostland is big again. And I'm back down to lacking 1,000 tanks. Yeah, these offensives are expensive, and I'm also out of anti-air. Wonderful. Let's keep pushing along the railway so we have supply. Moscow has been taken. Oh, German armor parading on the Red Square. Let's see how much more the Soviets are willing to take. A little bit more. Let's try and do the funny. I'm gonna launch a naval invasion of the entire north here around Narva. And at the same time, when they start making their landings, I'm gonna start a tank push from the south. Now, it's gonna be a little bit dicey considering the supply situation, but I have air. Should be able to make this work. Mechanized landing total and unmitigated success. You drive up to Leningrad. You drive down to Pskov. You drive over there. And then we can actually encircle them fully. This will allow me to take out the entire Baltic flank. And we're going to take Leningrad because they don't have anyone here. Time to delete the Red Navy once and for all. They should be wiped out soon enough. Anyway, Finland is not long for this world. They have betrayed me and shall pay the price. And once that ends the hostilities up north, I'm driving the tanks to Stalingrad. The problem is going to be supplies. I'm going to sit here for a little bit. Yeah, just have a little think on how I want to handle this. And there goes Finland. Let's see if we can get the Stalingrad from the south if I launch a bunch of distraction attacks on the flank. Let's get to Stalingrad before the fuel runs out. Please, sir, may I just have a small crumb of victory? Please. I've been a good boy. All right, when we take Lipetsk, it's over. It has to be. Please give me the win. It's done! Victory! Oh my god, the Soviets still had so much equipment. They had 10,000 rocket artillery. It is over. It's Jover. I'm just gonna get some stuff back and we're gonna call it a day. And come on, don't crash now. Oh, and to spite my enemies, I have completely balkanized the Soviet Union, turned them into my puppet, of course, and we have the new glorious Axis. Reichskommissariat Ostland was rewarded for their endurance. Reichskommissariat Ukraine. I have a lot of new Reichskommissariats. The Hungarians were rewarded for their service, and the Romanians punished for their betrayal. Should have punished Bulgaria a little more as well. So we end up with a pretty nice situation as far as Europe's concerned. If I were to continue this, I would just play for time in the east with most of my land-based army. I would go on a small campaign to take out the Middle East, Turkey, and North Africa using my armor, mechanized, and probably some infantry. At the same time, just keep building up a fleet until I could naval invade the UK. Take them out of the equation, and then start putting pressure on Venezuela. They are fascist. If I can get them to like me and put a spy on their, with this button, diplomatic pressure, they would eventually allow me to join their faction. When that would happen, I would rush everything over there, secure the immediate surroundings, so take out Brazil, take out this bunch of colonies up there, and use Venezuela as a staging ground to then take out Mexico and the United States of America. However, that is going to take way too long. It's 1950. I think we've proven our point. The Greater German Reich is back. The Axis is still here and kicking, and at this point, we're outnumbered, but unlike the Allies, I still have a little bit of fuel left in the tank. Not to mention a massive industry, and I could probably siphon off some of the Russian manpower to make up for my own losses. Anyway, we are going to end it here. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I heartily recommend you check out this mod. It is so good. The man who makes this puts in a lot of effort. It needs some polishing, it needs some work, but it's really good. Anyway, goodbye.